Hello, teachers. Hello, welcome to this live here, live on YouTube and on Instagram in a minute. Let's start in just a minute. Let me just set up YouTube here before because it's always tricky. How are you doing? How's everyone? Hi, Vero. Nice, good to see you here. Let me start things here on Instagram as well. We're going to start simultaneously. Wow, look at that. We're going to do lives in both places. Look at this. Super fancy. Do you get the topic for today for the ones watching here on YouTube? That's one that somebody asked me in a live, on a live this week. This week, somebody asked about it. Like, oh, so I don't have experience abroad. Can I teach? I'm like, oh, let me bring that to one of the lives. Okay, so starting at the same time here on Instagram as well. Hello, teachers. Hello, everybody. Good evening. Hi, everyone. Today, we're going to talk about this question that many teachers have. Let me write here. Do you need experience abroad to teach? Let me see. Be in the comment. Hello, Carla. Hi, Infinity Fantasy. Hello, Herbert. No, the Step Up Challenge starts on Monday. It starts on Monday, April 5th. Today we're just warming up. Right? And guys, the Step Up Challenge is here on YouTube. It's not on Instagram, okay? The Step Up Challenge is going to be on YouTube. It's not going to be here on Instagram because I need to share the screen and do all of the class and everything. All right, tonight we're going to talk about a question that many teachers send, and somebody asked in one of the lives this week about having experience abroad and teaching. If you needed to have experience abroad in order to teach, right? I think it's always relevant for us to talk about it because it talks a lot about teachers' confidence, right? And many teachers who are Brazilian don't feel like they're good enough. Let me just try to level it here. They feel that they're not good enough because they have never lived abroad. They don't have any experience in other countries. They feel like they have less value than other teachers. And I decided to do this live here with you guys so that I can talk about the way I see it, the way BTE sees it, right? And it has been a long time since we talked about it. I think that only last year when we released the upgrade, that was July, if I'm not mistaken, that we talked about this issue. And I know that it's very relevant for teachers, right? So first of all, I would like to know from the teachers who are watching here, and if you're watching this live or if you're watching here on YouTube later, let me know if you are first an English teacher. I believe I'm talking to 100% English teachers, right? But if you have experience abroad, if you have been abroad, if you have lived abroad, right? Just for me to know from the people who are watching if it's a reality or if it's not, okay? And just for research, so let me know if you have experience abroad. I lived in France actually for 3 months. I've been to the United States many times, like dozens of times. I've been to England. I lived in England for 2 months, so in London and in other cities. I've been to many places, right? But I never lived somewhere else for more than 3-4 months. I think my the maximum was that, right? And but I've been abroad a lot. And I know some teachers here are saying 2 years in the United States, 3 years, 4 years in Ireland. 6 months volunteering. Let me see what else. USA 2 years, right? Okay, okay, I do, right? I'm an English teacher. I've never been abroad. Andrea, I know many English teachers who have never been abroad, and they're awesome. Their English is great. They're awesome teachers. I've been a teacher for 11 years now, and I have never been abroad. I have in Sweden. Okay. See, guys, so we have all kinds of backgrounds here, right? People that have been abroad and people who haven't, different countries for different periods of time, right? And what I see from the reality of the teachers at BTE and the teachers that worked with me throughout these years, right, as a teacher in English schools. I've been to the US as a tourist, but never lived there. Okay, you see, guys, so we have all kinds of experience, right? And we're all English teachers. So, right, just from this little research here, we can see that it doesn't determine, right? Being abroad, having been abroad, doesn't define you as an English teacher or not, doesn't determine that you are or you're not an English teacher. Okay, so what is the point for having been abroad or not? Because we love English so much, because we chose to be English teachers, it's natural that we have this desire to visit countries that speak the language that we teach, the language that we learned, right? That we love so much. Awesome. Not just because we're teachers, right? Many people would love to, if you talk to people who are not teachers, they would say, oh yeah, I would love to go to Canada. I would love to go to Australia. I'd love to go to New Zealand, right? People have dreams. They want to visit places, period. But when you're a teacher and you've been studying English, right? Or you've learned English somehow, the culture comes with the language, right? So we always see certain places and certain things in the books or videos or audios or movies. And you're like, okay, I wonder when I'll be able to go there and really use the language in its, natural way. So it's a natural desire for English teachers. And of course, it's a good thing. First of all, guys, traveling, most importantly, traveling is a good thing for everyone, for another country or to another city in your country. It doesn't matter. So it makes you smarter, it gives you more experience. So we can't deny that traveling, no matter the country, no matter the city or the state, is a good thing for every human being. You see different people, you see different traditions, you eat different food, you listen to different accents if it's in your country, right? So it enriches your experience in life, right? I'm from Curitiba. Who here has been to Curitiba? Right? You hear a lot about Curitiba, but when you come here, you really see it happening. You see the Estação Tubo, you go to Ópera de Arame, right? Jardim Botânico, you eat a hot dog, but then it's not a hot dog, it's Vina, right? And then it's all the things that we have here. Or, okay, I'm from Curitiba and I go to Fortaleza, I go to Goiânia, I go to Rio de Janeiro. It's all experience. Okay, it's all experience. So traveling, undeniably, one of the best things we can do. I always say that the two things I like doing the most in life is traveling and going to concerts. Thank you, COVID. So all the money I make and all the time I have is for traveling, for getting to know different places, for going to concerts of the bands and musicians I like. So that's a given. But having been abroad or being a native speaker doesn't mean that you automatically become a better teacher. That's simply not how it works, right? For you to be a good teacher, you need different things. You need different skills. You need different talents, different strengths, right? So having been being born, like being from another country doesn't mean anything. Anything. Zero. It means zero, right? Okay, so I am from Brazil and I'm an English teacher. Fulano is from I don't know, from Canada. Is he better than me? Not necessarily, not automatically, right? It's a different thing when you are a native speaker and you are a teacher too. When you studied the language, you studied how to teach, you studied methodology, you studied how people learn, and that's your career, that's your job. That's a different thing, right? However, it's not the experience we have with many of the native speakers that come to Brazil and they just became teachers because they speak English. Try to think the other way around. You probably thought this way before, right? If you were to teach Portuguese, you get your, I don't know, a cousin you have who's not a teacher, right? From Brazil, a cousin you have, and they go to, I don't know, Japan, and they have to teach Portuguese. Would they be a good teacher? Would they be better than a Japanese that studied Portuguese, studied the language, the rules, the way to that people communicate, the way people learn and everything? Would they be better? Of course not. Would this cousin be better? No. The fact that you were born in that country doesn't change anything. If you were born in that country and you studied to be a teacher, you prepared, you were trained, okay, cool, that adds. However, there are many things that native speakers don't have. There are many things that native speakers can't do. And let me tell you why I think it's such a waste of time and energy for teachers here from Brazil or any other country that is not a country where English is the first language. It's a waste of time to worry about it. First, if English is your second language, you're the living proof that it's possible to learn a different language in an excellent way, in a positive way, in an efficient way. Because if you could do it, you went through the process of learning. You know the difficulties, you know the challenges, you know how we felt, you know you can anticipate the problems, the questions people will have regarding the language. If like when you didn't struggle to learn Portuguese, if you're Brazilian and you're thinking about it, you didn't struggle to learn Portuguese, you don't even remember, right? Because you learned to speak when you were 1, 2 years old. And then you studied the language all the time for all the years you were at school. So you don't know the difficulties. You were always fluent. You were fluent. You've been fluent since you were 1 or 2. So you don't know what students face when they're learning Portuguese. But if English is your second language, you know the difficulties. You know the tricks. You know the things you had to do in order to learn certain things that are confusing. You know the things that work in Portuguese one way and in English another way that would get in your way when you were learning, right? And Andrea says, sometimes students ask us if we've been abroad before. It seems important for them. Andrea, I don't see that as and I know they do, right? And I think it's just a repetition of a behavior, a pattern that people have that, oh, so you lived abroad and when you came back, you became a teacher. And sometimes they're just asking out of curiosity for that same reason that I mentioned before in the beginning. So you're an English teacher, you probably went abroad, lived abroad, or had some experience abroad at a certain point in your life, right? That is not a crazy thing to think. It's not crazy to think, right? So when you think of a yoga instructor, do you think that they've been to India? Like, oh, so you're a yoga instructor? Have you been to India? Have you lived in India? I would say that 99% of the yoga instructors in Brazil haven't. Does it make them worse yoga instructors? Of course not. But I'm pretty sure that they would like to, because that's where yoga was born, right? So it is a common belief, it's a pattern, a behavior that people have to assume that English teachers have lived abroad. And it's okay. It's almost like, oh, so you're a doctor. Where did you study medicine? Of course, you're a doctor. You studied medicine. All right. That's not a natural thing. But for a person to believe and expect a teacher to have been abroad or to be a native speaker, then you have bigger fish to fry, because you have to deal with their beliefs. Because if they believe that you can only be a good teacher if you have had experience abroad, if you're a native speaker, they probably have limiting beliefs for their learning as well. And you probably know many people that that believe that they can only learn English when they go abroad. They're like, no, you know what? I'm not going to study here. I just, I'm saving money to live abroad, and then I'll learn English out there. How many people do you know that lived abroad and didn't learn English or learned very poor English? I remember the first time I went to London, we stayed at some friend's house, right? And we only knew him, but he lived with, these fraternities, like Republicas with, I don't know, 7 people, right? Things you do when you're 21. So they were all Brazilian. So they all lived in London. They all worked there. They had been there for 2 years, 3, 4 years. And at the time, I had been an English teacher for 5 years, more or less, right? I was the one that spoke English the best. They didn't know English well. They only knew some English. They only knew very basic things. They would make the same mistakes our students make here. And they had been there for 2, 3, 4 years. It was the first shock I had in my life to say, what? But you live here. How come you don't know? How come you're not fluent? I have a friend who moved to Switzerland in 2004. And there in the part she lives in Zurich, and in Zurich they speak German. And she took about 8 or 10 years to start learning how to speak German. So she lived there and she didn't know how to communicate in German. So being abroad doesn't mean anything unless you go to another country and you have a mindset and you have the attitude of a learner. You go there and you're going to study and you're going to develop your language. You go with this point of view of a teacher or of a language learner, then you're going to learn. Then you can come back with a lot of experience to be a better teacher. Otherwise, that doesn't count either. And again, guys, nothing that I'm saying is 100%, because yes, there are people that go abroad and learn beautiful English. There are people that study here and we have all cases. I have many friends who are English teachers, who have been English teachers for years, and their English is awesome. Awesome. Some people believe they're native speakers and they have never been abroad, or they have just been abroad as tourists. So it's not about having been abroad or being a native speaker. All right. I've lived in Greece for taking the course, and my colleagues were very disappointed with their experience in India. There you go. See, guys, we have all kinds of experience, right? I remember once, Herbert, I was teaching a group of adults from a company in Joinville. Do you know the bathroom things like the call? You know, the call, when you see the tap and the shower, the flush, the call. I had a group of engineers, guys from the call. I think they were a big group. They were like 6, 7, 8 guys. And the call was gonna pay a course in Canada for all of them, right? They would get a scholarship to spend a month in Canada to improve their English. They were studying English in Brazil, but the company would offered them a month in Canada to improve their English. So they went to Canada. They went to a school where they had people from all nationalities. And when they came back, they were very frustrated, right? Again, am I saying that Canada sucks? No. And am I saying that the school, I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying that being abroad doesn't mean anything. They all came back saying, the school was not good, the teacher didn't understand everybody, and the other people had difficulties we didn't have. We didn't like this. They were very disappointed. They liked the tourism, they liked everything about the city, but they came back saying, your classes are much better. Classes here at the school are much better. We learn a lot more here than there. And it's not because it was me. It's not because it was me, but their experience there, the way they did it, and the points that they brought to me, just made like, okay, it was a month of a, that you just went there for fun to get to know the place, but your English didn't get any better, right? So being abroad may not be that big a deal. Again, there are many people that have done the same. They have been 1 month abroad and they do it right. They seize the opportunity and their English just, boosts. I would go to the United States with a group of students for 1 month every year, and their English went from 7 to 10 in a month. But they had the proper guidance, they had the proper mindset, the proper like organization of how their days were going to be. So that makes a difference, right? Let me just read some of the comments here. Brazilians in London tend to be surrounded by Brazilians and they don't learn English. There are a lot of Brazilians overseas. Pachi, it's true. Pachi saying that. And not just in London, right, Pachi? The thing is, the reality of many people that move to different countries is that they want a better life from the life they had here, right? So they come from very humble and simple backgrounds. And they're there to perform super simple jobs that require very little from their communication. And because they don't know English so well, they cannot get better jobs. Right? You're here? Okay. So it's a reality. Again, is it everybody? Of course not. Of course not. But I just want to, like, lift this, like this like weight from your shoulders that many teachers feel embarrassed. It's a big thing that destroys their confidence if they've never been abroad. Or when a student asks them if they've been abroad, or I prefer to have classes with a native speaker. You're like, okay, go do it. It's a choice, guys. Like some people prefer to have classes with women or with men. That it's a choice. It's not because you're better or worse. It's a person's choice. I like to go to the gym in the morning. Others like to go to the gym in the afternoon. Others don't like going to the gym. So what? I love classes at the gym that are done with other people. I hate to do things by myself. So I mean, all the Zumba classes, like all of the all of those dance classes and oh my goodness, it's been so long because gyms have been closed for a long time, right? But all of these classes that we get together are the best for me. I hate working out by myself, and for others, it's like, oh my goodness, no way. I like to do it on my own. I hate the gym. It's okay. It's an option. It doesn't mean that gym is bad or that Zumba teacher is not so good. Zumba instructor. It doesn't matter. You have to be okay with yourself. You have to know that the English you have is excellent and your skills as a teacher are good. That you know what you're doing in class, you know how to prepare your class, you know how to anticipate the problems your students are going to have in class because you've been there. And also, one more thing, especially with pronunciation. You know the pronunciation mistakes your students are going to make because you probably have committed those mistakes when you were learning. So because your ears understand the difficulty Brazilians have to pronounce certain sounds, to make certain sounds, it makes you a better teacher, right? So you have to have that very clear in your mind. And there's something, I just said that to a teacher in one of our groups at BT today, because she said, oh, I'm so disappointed 2 students left because they don't have, for financial reasons. And I'm worried that more people will leave. What can I do? Do you think it's going to happen? I'm like, we can't control other people. So worry about what you can control. That's why we always have to be prospecting students. We always have to have different things to offer and options for our students so we don't have to worry when that happens. Same thing for the fact that, okay, some people will say they'd rather have class with a native speaker. We know many native speakers who are awesome teachers. We have Jane in our group. We have Anna Kanyans in our groups. They're awesome and they're native speakers, but they're teachers. They are native speakers, meaning their English is perfect or close to perfect, right? And they are teachers too. They've been teachers, they studied to be teachers, they've been trained, they're getting better, they're taking our course pro. So that, okay, that can be a thing. But it doesn't, that guys, it's not like a miracle. You automatically get more students because you're a native speaker. No. You automatically get more students because you lived abroad. No. Mm-mm. What is going to be the decisive thing, the deciding thing in your business is that you deliver amazing classes and you show your value every time you're talking to your clients. That is the big deal here for you. But you have to know that for yourself. Because if your confidence is broken, if your confidence is small, you're not going to be able to change your price. You're not going to be able to increase, like the price and iffy every time you're going to make a video or create a post. So it doesn't mean you don't have to study, you don't have to improve, you don't have to have excellent English. Of course you do. You have to practice, you have to improve your pronunciation, you have to avoid making mistakes. You have to constantly develop yourself, and not because you're Brazilian, but because you're a teacher and because you take what you do seriously. That is another thing. Like, it's not because of that. And if you're a native speaker, you have to continue studying about how people learn and how you can teach, and methodologies and theories and techniques and all of that and approaches. You have to improve that too, because you value your job. You are a professional. Like the reel I shared today, because it's not a bico, it's not renda extra. It's not a hobby. It's a job. It's your profession. It's your business. Right? And something else, let me just see here because I saw so many comments. You're awesome. Thank you. Thank you a million for everything you taught me. It's my pleasure. Students usually think that teachers know more about English if you've been overseas. They think they can learn English with Duolingo. They think they don't have to practice English every day. They think that by translating everything and just, learning a list of words, just by doing that, they'll learn English. It's just one more of their beliefs, right? I have friends living in the USA for 15 years and still don't speak English. Tati, so do I. People who have been there for years and years and still can't do anything. I had a client once, Tati, whose English was great. He worked for Volvo in the United States, but his wife, they had been there for 3 or 4 years, but his wife couldn't speak any English. She couldn't go to the supermarket by herself. So being abroad means nothing, right? In that case. When you go abroad, it's better if you're not surrounded by Brazilians. I agree. Or if you have an agreement, right? If you go with Brazilians who are determined to achieve the same results as you do, then okay, right? Once I tried a partnership with a native speaker, but he didn't know how to teach. Pachi, there were many times. I used to be a teacher trainer at the school I worked for. And twice a year, we would open the application for new positions for teaching English in the school. And they had very high standards for teachers. So native speakers, okay, cool, right? Their English was great. And basically, every time we had a native speaker, we had a gringo in class, they would make a mess, if they weren't real teachers, if they were just people who came from another country and were living here, right? And always, please understand that, guys. Please understand that difference, right? They were awesome native speakers who were teachers, awesome. But there were some that they just, they came to spend a year or two, and they barely, and they made so many mistakes when they were speaking. Again, it's not about your English being perfect, but there are some things that you can't do, right? There was a class that I was observing, and I can't remember the mistake, but the person was teaching something wrong. And it's not just like, oh, but that's the detail of the detail. No, something wrong that was in the intermediate one book that we had in the school. So no. You're not going to work here, you know? Um, Continuous improvement, that's it. Once I had two students that were learning English with me and decided to go abroad because they thought that living in another country, that by living in another country, they would learn effectively, but they came back really frustrated. You know, it depends. It depends. We have to tell them, like, okay, you're going to go, so do it this way. You know, learn things this way. One of my students is Brazilian and he has already been abroad for 20 years. So, guys, does it make sense to you that, okay, make plans to go abroad, to visit the place, to spend some time there because you want to be there, because you want to travel, because, you know, you want to have, you know, photos and stories to tell from these places? That's awesome. I'll always say that the more you invest on these things, the better. But it doesn't mean just tattoo that on your forehead, right? By being abroad or being a native speaker doesn't make you automatically a better teacher. It doesn't, right? My husband is American. He's been in Brazil for more than 10 years now, and he's fluent in Portuguese. He can do everything in Portuguese, right? He has a very strong accent, of course, right? The same way I probably have an accent when I'm speaking, right? And it's okay. I don't mispronounce things, but I'm sure I have an accent. I'm sure that when people listen to me, when native speakers listen to me, they're like, you're not a native speaker, right? You're from maybe, I don't know where. And it's all right. It's all right. As long as you don't mispronounce things, no problem. Having an accent means you know a second language. Ta-da! My husband speaks Portuguese. He's 100% fluent. He can do anything he wants in Portuguese. He has a super strong accent. The moment he says hi, you know he's a gringo. And he hates it when I say that, right? Because he's like, oi. I'm like, okay, you're a gringo. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, yeah, but it's not wrong. Could he be a Portuguese teacher? No, no way. No way. He can't. Why? Because he doesn't know the language that way. He doesn't know how to explain it. He doesn't know how a person would learn that. He doesn't know the difficulties. Like he's like, okay, I learned that, I can do it, but being a teacher is something else. Oh, but he's been there for 10 years. He's been here for 10 years. I know. He learned for himself. He learned for himself. He still struggles to say temporada temperada. So when we're watching series like yesterday or the day before, we were watching Breaking Bad. It's like, essa já é a segunda temperada. Like, yeah, that's not food, right? It's like, oh yeah, temporada, right? It's okay. It doesn't make any difference. We understand because you know what you're talking about. Yeah. So the fact that you have an accent, that's just welcome to, you know, the global world. We're probably going to talk to more people who have English as a second language than native speakers, and you know the numbers, right? We know that. Don't ever, don't ever make fun of a person's accent. Don't ever do that. Okay? Don't ever correct a person. And I know I'm talking to teachers, I know you don't do it. Okay? But don't ever correct a person in public or a student in front of everybody. I mean, a student depending on your class, but I mean outside of class, you know, on a post or something. Because when a person speaks a second language, it means that they're learning a different way to communicate. And if you're a teacher, it means you studied or you're studying ways to help people learn this other language. And the experience you have here or abroad is going to be determined by the effort you make to master the language and the way it's taught and the way it's learned. And don't let that be in your way to your confidence to become the best teacher ever, to start your business, to create your own material. Maybe nowadays you see your English and you're like, you know what? It needed to be a lot better. What would you say to a student that said that to you? Hmm? What would you say to a student? If a student said, you know what, I don't think my English is good enough to apply for that job. Like, so let's work on it. Let's study. Let's practice. Wouldn't you say that to a student? So say that to yourself as well. Hi, Camila, I'm not comfortable recording videos in English. Why not? So let's get better at doing that. Let's train, let's practice the language, let's improve pronunciation, fluency. Let's do it. Let's do it because you know it's important for you. That's it. I'm Russian and Brazilians laugh when I speak. Tati, that is just so wrong. That is just so wrong. It does. It does, Tati. It does. No one should ever do that. And as teachers, we should be the ones leading this movement of not making fun of people's accents. Guys, we're going to start the Step Up Challenge on Monday, right? April 5th. So it's the time when our bubble, we have BT here, and everyone who's following us here, we have the same kind of way of being, right? We like life, we respect each other, we're positive, we're here to improve. Best teacher ever, best people ever. But every time we grow, every time we start a new Step of Challenge, we open to new people, meaning we send posts outside of this bubble we have. Have you ever seen any of the posts that I have that are sponsored and the kind of comments that are under that? The number of people making fun of me, of my eyes, my voice, my mouth, my clothes, my English, my Portuguese, my everything. Whatever I'm saying. It's just like, seriously, seriously. Deep inside, I just think like, I hope you're not a teacher. I really hope you are not a teacher, because if you're a teacher, you're the worst kind of teacher, right? So if you are a teacher, be a teacher everywhere. Be a teacher everywhere. You wouldn't make fun of a student in class, would you? So you wouldn't do that and in any other part of your life. We have to be the role models for that, right? We have to be the role models for that. And that requires confidence. That requires being fine with who you are, where you were born, the experiences you've had so far. If traveling abroad is something that means a lot to you, plan to do it. When you become the best teacher ever, when you join our tribe, you're going to have money enough to plan. And when COVID is gone, then you can finally go. If that means a lot to you, save money to do it. Make it a dream come true. You know what, Camila? I think it means a lot. I think it's going to be good for me, for my business and everything. Awesome. So plan for next year. This year it's all bagunça, right? Plan for next year to go abroad. Where would you like to go? How much money would you need? Start saving. Nossa, Camila, mas eu nem pago as contas. Join BT so you're going to have extra money. Make it a reality for you. Oh, I really wish I could spend a month somewhere, a week somewhere, 6 months somewhere. Okay, let's make it happen because you believe it's important for you, but not because you don't trust who you are, you don't trust your value as a teacher, as an educator, as a person who sells a thing that automatically improves a person's life. Whoever knows English is better at everything they do. That's a fact. You make more money, you help people make more money, have a better life. So you should be proud of yourself and always study, always improve. Always develop, always invest time, energy, money to developing yourself. Don't ever let these thoughts stop you from being the best teacher ever. Don't ever let, like, oh, but, I was talking to Fulano, that teacher said, like I saw Fernanda from our mentoring, and she has lived in Australia for, I don't know, 6 or 8 years. Fernanda is half Australian, half Brazilian. Oh, but I'll never be as good as Fernanda because I didn't have that. Fernanda has her life. She has her struggles too, right? And if you think going to Australia is a thing for you, start planning. Australia doesn't have COVID anymore. right? So make it a plan, make it a reality for yourself. Be a teacher everywhere. That's it. That's it, Faye. That's it, Faye. We cannot be teachers just in class. We have to be teachers everywhere, right? My intonation is Paranaense. Louis, I have a mix. If you see me speaking Portuguese, when you see me speaking Portuguese, because I do speak Portuguese sometimes, I have a mix of guria and menina and Londrina and Joinville and Santa Catarina and Curitiba. I have a crazy accent. And it's fine because I lived in all of these cities, right? I have a little bit of that in me. So that's it. That's it. All right, teachers. It's such a pleasure to see you here. It's a great thing to see how this number of teachers committed with themselves being here and us on a second live today. Now that we're getting closer to the challenge, I'm going to be doing lives more and more often, right? Because we really have to start improving and getting our tribe to become a better and bigger tribe of teachers who do it right, who do it right for themselves and who do it right for others. That is the whole point of BTE, right? We need to develop our businesses so we can make more money, but the job, the thing that we have here, the base that we're developing is much bigger than that. We go much deeper than that. And I love to see many familiar names here every day in the lives. Thank you for joining me in this journey to becoming the best teachers ever. And that's the way that we're going to improve everything around us. All right. Teachers, take care. I'm going to finish my dinner. I just heard that my family finished dinner here. So I'm going to go back and finish my part, right? I'm that one, like I made dinner, sat at the table, ate a little bit. Okay, let me do the live. Now I'm going to go back and finish that and spend some time with them. Okay, I'll see you all tomorrow. I won't be on YouTube at noon, all right? But at noon, I'm going to be here with a special guest. You're going to get to know one more best teacher ever that is going to share her experience here with you. Okay? Take care. Have a very good night. Bye-bye. Bye-bye here on YouTube as well.